Okay, so this is just a weird thing that I wanted to talk about real quick. My camera's in a totally odd place because Stella is just, it's weird how she's just being like she needs to be right on top of me. And she just feels so, I don't know, scared or sad or something. I'm not sure, but she has to be right on top of me. So, anyways, the thing I wanted to talk about. So last week when I was saying about this, where they have made a bunch of kids purposely targeted a certain group of people with a certain thing that you would need a transplant for. And they know how to do all this. This isn't like some crazy shit I'm making up here, right? So they know how to target certain people so that they can make certain things happen. And they're always wanting us to accept these certain things. And if we have a personal experience, it changes our view of things rather than just us being, the mailman was just going to go by. I was going to tell Christina I put the package out today. So, anyways, so if they can get people to accept something that most of us would be like, no, it's that ethical question. They're always trying to get us to cross these certain boundaries because science, what science provides, goes against the natural order of things. I mean, like if something on you wears out, it's because it was time for you to go. So they're trying to fight this natural order to thing. That's why I think some of them are like a fucking 1,000 years old. They're like relics or something. They're shape-shifting weirdos. I don't know. They're different than the rest of us. We're here to learn certain lessons, and they're here to deal with their own stuff. Who knows what they're here to learn. But anyways, so they're constantly pushing the boundaries, trying to get us to accept certain things that most of us find unacceptable. We wouldn't say like, oh, you know, when it gets to the point, it's your own child. That's where people start getting real gray, real shady. Like, you know, let's push the boundaries a little bit. You know, I want to save my kid. So people will really go out there. You know, they won't see a problem with killing somebody else and taking their parts for their kid. It's acceptable when it's your own loss that you don't want to face. And so that is that ethical question, though. That's that same thing where I talked about with those Asian, that whole culture where if they could only have one child and then these people are going out and killing the girls. You know, they think that they're pushed into a certain thing, but the questions are always there for you to ask yourself. And even if you don't believe in a natural creator or any of that stuff, it's your own self that you have to face. It's you. It is how you're here to witness yourself. You're here to understand yourself. And so it's what pushes you in what direction? Where are your ethics? What is your moral code? Who are you at your core? That's what everything is about for souls, why they go through this stuff, to learn about themselves. So if they are pushing this agenda to create a circumstance that gets people to question how they view certain practices, then, you know, that's a success for them because they know, you know, it just takes a little push and people will look at things very differently. So, excuse me. It's like, that's in my way still. You don't need any room here, do you? So, anyways, so I saw this TikTok, and it said how it's really, really bad right now. I guess in Puerto Rico, I think it said. Now I've got Costa Rica stuck in my mind. So I think they said Puerto Rico, but it could have been Costa Rica because now they're both in there. But it said that it's a whole bunch of kids right now. There's a whole bunch that have died. There's a whole bunch that have had to get transplanted. There's a whole bunch in critical condition. So, but it will go further than that. I mean, they're definitely going to spread it out into not just what you would consider more third world countries or whatever. Some of those, I would say, probably are even more, well, it's God's will. There's nothing we can do, even though they're going to be sent into such a despair and sadness. And they're creating so much of this anxiety and sadness and stuff, that energy, remember, because they're feeding off that energy. They're using that energy. So they're creating it. You can see how they're creating it. But so there's all of that going on. Well, the crazy thing is, right before I saw that TikTok, the one directly before it was another one that this was the one I wanted to talk about. So, if you know who the Kenisha Jenkins, I think that's how you say it, Kenisha Jenkins, that murder mystery, because I like those crime things. I probably saw it on like that chapter. I could have even seen it on Mr. Ballin too. They probably both did a story about it, but it's a really strange story about this girl, a really young, beautiful black girl. Turned on the oven. A young, beautiful black girl who went to a party with their friends, and I think she was pretty obedient to her parents. Like, she always called and checked in and wouldn't push curfew or something. I can't remember though. I could be off. I've heard so many of these weird stories now. But so she disappeared at this party, and nobody could find her, and everybody was drunk, so her friends were looking, and then there was a whole bunch of weird stuff. Like, if you look it up, which, if you're interested, always look it up. Don't rely on stuff that I say, because I will, say things that won't be as accurate as if you see it for yourself. But there's a whole bunch of weird stuff with the search, when the police came, and when they started searching, there's a whole bunch of weird stuff that went on. The whole thing was weird and very concerning. And so, and a weird thing too is, I guess, the restaurant was Bill Murray's brother's restaurant, who Bill Murray is very good friends with Selena Gomez. So, and it's just there's some stuff that's just so twisted. So, anyways, so this girl goes and she ends up being found in the freezer of this restaurant. And I don't know this for fact for sure, but it definitely said it in this video that I watched, but I don't remember it being mentioned before. But I don't know that I would have been paying that much attention about it then, because I didn't know as much as I know now what I knew then. So it would have been more aware and listening for certain things with my awareness at this point when I watched them. So I think I would have remembered this, but they said when she was found, she had no organs in her. And there's another thing too, I'll just interject this, that I had seen. This was, I think it was when I was on Twitter. But people were talking about certain cities that are very, very dangerous to go to, because there's so many poor people or drug addicts or whatever that are in a concentrated area, and they can make so much money off of that situation. Think of the hostel. So, how they get people to go out and be their lures to bring in the victims, I guess you would call them. So it's big business in a lot of cities. There's a lot of people who are doing it. It's very dangerous. Like if you go out drinking to certain places or whatever, and you're not going to hear about some of these people who are just found dead. And don't forget, the police, the judicial, and everything, there's certain things they're going to overlook. So I don't know that this was in the news. I don't know if this person who was doing this video had found more information while they were researching, because they said it was a rabbit hole they had gone down. The content or context of the post was a rabbit hole that they had gone down that they didn't think anybody would believe or listen to. So, I listened to them all, but this one just clicked in so many different ways. I mean, when I saw it. So I don't know that, that she was truly found with no organs, but the thing is Selena at the same time got a transplant, and there's a whole weird stuff if you look up about the articles that were coming out and how she just happened to have these people there with her, and it just, a lot of coincidences, which I don't really believe in coincidences. I believe in synchronicities. I believe in exposure and stuff. And I think things can't be as hidden. But that is also in that gray area. So if they tell you you're going to, and I think a lot of people who face transplant face this, but what will you do? What will you pay? How much would you give to get what you're looking for? And there's people out there who are, luring those, they're out there trying to make those big bucks off of people. And so, if, one thing is that who knows? Like, is this something, I think I had heard before that she had some sort of problem. I think there's a few of these actors and stuff, which that also goes back to, are their DNAs and stuff being manipulated? Is that why some of them all look the same? Are they doing the same thing with the celebrities and stars as we do with dogs? Is there just some sort of like, oh, well, we like the lips on this one, and let's mix her, we'll just do a little shake up here. And then, I mean, if they're to the point now of wanting to grow their cells so that we can eat a part of them, like, think about it. It's not a stretch of the imagination, I don't think. I think if you are not seeing some of this stuff, then you are really bound down to the narrative. If you can't look outside the box and see what's really going on. But I think that probably some of these people have some of these things, but they don't get reported. But it's this hand of God where the light has come in and we're seeing the stuff around us that was always there. It was just in the dark and we didn't see it. But now it's in the light. So we have to see it. We have to face it. We have to know what's true. And so, how many of these people were getting this stuff? How many people, ended up being victims so somebody else could have a spare part? Because, they are fighting against the natural order of things. They are trying to create this enduring life. But it's like the picture of Dorian Gray, They're, one part may not age, but their soul is decaying, They just become, no humanity left in them. I mean, and they're feeding off of a certain group of people who have no humanity to begin with. They feel like they got the raw end of the deal. They got screwed over in life because they're being misled. They're not understanding what life's about. But they're making these choices for themselves because it's their soul. Everybody comes here to see themselves. So they have to see this side of themselves. And sometimes they're there just to play that role. Not to see it for themselves, but to play the role for somebody else. So, everything is so much more complex. But when we just think about what it is they're trying to get us to accept and what it is they're doing, and, for instance, this whole big murder thing that happened, and there's so many inconsistencies or incongruencies for one story, but completely fits in and molds and makes a whole thing to the other situation. And not only that, what is even creepier is, I guess Selena Gomez put an album or a music video or something out after that about being in the freezer, and she shows herself laying in a freezer like a frozen dead person. It's like, I guess if you get to the point where you are thinking like, oh yeah, that person has no value, so they're a good match for me, yeah, please, so I can get those parts, then you've already kind of lost a bit of your humanity. You're already to that point. You just don't care about other people. You're just very self-indulgent, very self-centered, self, a soul just revolving and evolving around self. And then these other ones that all go and find each other And then they create this negative, disgusting kind of way of being with other people, who don't have the same conscious awareness. Think about energy as being the free energy that has no awareness, but then you have the conscious energy. This is why it's like an evolution, development for consciousness, because how many conscious beings are we seeing presently on this planet that don't live in a conscious kind of way of existence, that they are conscious without being fully conscious. So they aren't really making their own decisions. So it's it's all this whole levels of this. And we are here at a time where we are seeing these transformations happening in people's lives, in their consciousness. So this developing or development that is occurring, so I think that I think a lot of things. There's so many things I'm thinking about this that I don't think I can keep them all straight. But anyways, I do think that they are definitely pushing an agenda, and they do get certain people who go into their social, enter into their realm, into this world, into their reality, who do begin to see us all as just a farm, just pick what you want or need, that we're just there for them until we decide we're not there for them, until we decide we're here for ourselves. But that's a conscious decision. And so, we have that going on. We have the push of making people sick on purpose to try and get them to accept this stuff. Not that you would be able to afford the parts for your kids. It's only they want you to accept it for them, because we're funding their Frankenstein show. They're not going to be like worrying about if your kid really needs a kidney. No, they'd be like, well, yeah, you can have it if you get this much money, and, are you going to go out and hire somebody to go get you one for yourself? I mean, in the world they're creating, that's what we would be living like. Some of the most sick and depraved kind of social environment, if it kept going in their direction. But everything is being highlighted, everything's being shown, and people are having to question their own morality and their own ethical practices, their own humanity, how they feel. I mean, for so long, it used to always be, you heard people, I hate people, I hate people, I hate life. I don't hear that really anymore. I think people are learning to appreciate things, and they are evolving beyond that's the awakening. That's what they fear the most, is us to begin to become independent from them. We don't need them, and they're pushing harder and harder. I saw there's so much stuff of people freaking out about this, the world economic thing, but there's just so many things like on TikTok. To me right now, it's like almost entirely I don't know what stuff that I would want to listen to, not dancing and look at my beautiful makeup today, and do you like this hairdo or this outfit or whatever, those videos. I'm not seeing any of those. I'm only seeing people talking serious shit and serious concerns, and really wanting to, come together and figure out solutions. And I know the solution is all going to be community-based. Like, if you're really wanting solutions, that's where you need to go, is gather in your communities, or find a community that is at your level. Like, my situation. I'm in this community that is, it's all the things that are popping in my head. It's funny, but it's not what I would say. But, it isn't It's not at my level of understanding this place or what needs to be done, that's for sure. And it could develop into that. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of reasons why I have this place and this house and what I'm going through. And so, and who knows what the hell is going to happen? How can any of us know what the hell is going to happen? We have to just have faith and trust and know that we're eternal. That's the biggest thing, is people, fear all of this stuff, but all they can do is create fear by making you think that they can hurt you. So, but they want us to question this stuff. And, there is people who have crossed the line in so many things, so many areas of this world where people have crossed the line. And, so, I think that there's probably definitely something to that story. I think it's by no coincidence that some girl is found in her friend's freezer with even if she had anything in there, I would think, even if they said she had her parts, I would think she didn't have her parts. I think that the stuff was missing, and who knows how many other parts are missing. Who knows? I mean, every single part is worth so much money. So anyways, it's just more of the nonsense that is going on that we have to see and understand, and be clear on what their motivation and what it is they're doing, because that is how they've existed for so long. They're a bunch of fucking vampires and Frankensteins and a bunch of relics, and the people that have sold out to their system to that level, is out of desperation. Who knows what all other things, but a lot of people are desperately scared to die and will do anything to stay alive. So, it creates a lot of sickness. They've created a lot of sickness. There's a lot of healing that has to go on. But anyways, I just wanted to share that one. I thought that one was really interesting. And I thought that guy really put together some parts that I didn't. I mean, I don't pay any attention to Selena Gomez or any of those kind of pop stars. It's like not my jam. So it's not something I pay attention to what's going on with any of them. Unless it's something that people keep, people keep sharing. And maybe they shared that when it happened. And I wasn't on any of that social media back then. I was only since 2020. And I think that this crime happened in 2018. But only since 2020 did I start going on and really trying to, connect with other people and trying to, find, am I the only person here seeing this? This is crazy shit happening here. So anyways, I will talk to you later. This day is not improved since this morning. It is just this gray, eerie, weird, off and on rain, off and on gust of wind. And I have noticed too, because, I've got a lot more trees. And I think that there is some reason sometimes to keep some of the small trees. I think there's a lot to really understand about forests and stuff, but definitely when the wind starts going, the trees that are on the outside that are not protected by the trees on the inside don't move near as much as the ones on the outside. Of course, that makes the most sense. But the weird thing is when you move out here, all these people's solution is just cut down more trees. And it's like, no, you don't move into the forest to cut down all the trees. I don't know. I just... There's a lot of things that I don't understand around with people. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk to you later. Bye.